crafty friends and stampers. This is Diane, the Creative Inkster, coming to you live from Guelph, Ontario in Canada. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm very excited for today. Today is May the 4th, and it is the first day of our new catalog. So I've got some new products to show you, but this is Technique Tuesday, so I really want to focus on that. But here are the in colors that we have: Evergreen, Evening Evergreen, Polished Pink, Pale Papaya, Soft Succulent, and Fresh Freesia. So I'm going to use 3 of them, but I also wanted to show you the absolutely gorgeous ribbons that they all come in. It's an open weave ribbon. So it's nice, you can see through it. So there's the evergreen. Here's the succulent. And polished pink. Beautiful with your magenta too. It's a nice bright bold color. This is the Fresh Freesia and Pale Papaya. And the one I'm going to use tonight is actually Fresh Freesia. I've cut a piece for my card. So here is the card for Technique Tuesday that I'm going to demonstrate. Kind of looks like a regular card with its stamping, but I'm going to show you how to do the splatter technique on there. A couple of different ways, certainly you can do it, but it's an overlooked technique, something that can just add that little bit extra to your card and project that you might not have thought about. So for this particular one, I'm going to take a piece of Fresh Freesia cardstock. So I've cut the paper in half lengthwise, making this 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2 and folded. So that's my card base. And then I've got a piece of soft succulent, which is 4 inches by 5 1/4. It's my layer. And on top of that's where the stamping is going to happen. And this is some basic white, which is 3 3/4 by 5. Yep, just double checking. All right, so that's what we're going to work on. And I'm going to need my 3 ink pads. So this card here that I did as a sample had Soft Seafoam, Petal Pink, So Saffron, and the Highland Heather. And I think I even stamped the Highland Heather off a little bit so it wasn't too taking over the card. And I'm going to do the same card, but I'm going to add ribbon to it with these in colors. So let's get them open. There's Freesia, Pale Papaya, and Soft Succulent. Okay, let me just stick this one off camera a little bit. And here's our piece of white. The stamp set I'm using for the flowers is Pretty Perennials. It's a set with dies. I'm going to use this nice large flower. And it is retiring at the end of June. And here I've put it on my block. And what you may see is I've got a little dot on the top here, and I do that with a black marker to mark my stamp so that I will know where it fits on the die. The die also has a little black mark, so when I go to stamp them, then I can line them up much more easily instead of moving around and around and around to get it perfect, because they're not all symmetrical. That's not the case here for kneading it, but I just wanted to point that out. And I'm also using Happy Thoughts. The stamp set is also retiring at the end of June, and I've really enjoyed it. I love the sayings and how they fit 4 of them right onto any of our punches of the same size. I'm going to use Thinking of You. So let's get started. When I do collage technique stamping, so 2 techniques in one really, I start with the lightest color. And I go in, and you've heard me say before I don't like my colors to touch, but I may have to get over that, especially on this card here. So I want to try to get 2, I'm using 3 colors instead of 4, so I'm going to try to get 2 and a bit of each color on there. And then I'm going to want to clean it. Grab my handy shandy and clean that off. I'm going to leave the ink out because I might just need to go back and add a little more. Then I'm going to use the Fresh Freesia, and I'm going to stamp it on here too. Kind of going to go in here Try to leave some spots for the soft succulent. Now you can do 3, 4, 5, however many colors you like. I should keep that open too, just in case. And you notice that I did some stamping off the page. I don't want it to be perfect with all the flowers on the page. It gives it a little bit more of a natural look. And here we go with this guy. And these do dry a little bit differently colored once they have had a chance to fully dry on your paper. They lighten up just a wee bit. Okay, so I'm kind of happy with that. Gives me what I'm looking for. So I can close this up because the one I'm going to use for the greeting is the fresh freesia. So let's get these stamp pads out the way and clean off the stamp. I can tell you that I have dunked fingers into stamps and ink where it shouldn't be and all of that many, many, many times. Oh, and I think maybe I'm going to actually use the succulent to do the spritzing with, or the splatter technique with. So let's get the stamping done. I have a die here that I cut out from, and I want to say this is the Stitch So Sweetly. I'm not sure. I may not be right on that one. I forget where this one came from, but I'm going to get my greeting on here. It fits fairly nicely. Oh, I want to take a test run because sometimes my eye is not perfect for getting them on, and they end up going a little crooked. There we go. So tilting it a bit to the side worked well for me on this one. So clean that off, and we're done with our stamping. Set the greeting aside. Get into soft succulent. Oh, hi Brenda. Welcome. I'm using soft succulent. So I'm going to open the ink pad, and for the splatter technique, I'm going to use our water painters. It's a 3-pack for $16.25. There are 3 different sizes. This one is way more like a paintbrush, so it's much wider. Not going to use that on here. I've used it successfully to draw stripes though. And then the other 2 are pretty much the same design, but one's thinner than the other. So I'm going to use the little bit thicker one tonight, see how that goes. So to add ink, you never really want to take any liquids and add it to your ink pad. That's just going to pull some color out of it that you don't need. You could pick up the color from a couple of different options. You could squeeze the lid and pick it up from there, or you could use your refill if you have it. But I'm just going to add a blotch right here on a fresh block. Then I'm going to take this barrel, and it says push right there. And I'm just going to push out, and that will drop some color. Hopefully it'll drop some color onto the block. And there we go. Just had to be pumped. Okay, so we want to make it nice and juicy. And just spread it around. There, I'm going to test it on my paper to see just how dark it is. And then I've got my paper here. I'm going to take a trial run too. So I'm just going to tap it on my finger and see how much comes off. So it does need to be fairly juicy for that to work. So you don't want to pull the color off. You want it to be fairly juicy. Okay, ready to go in. And I'm just going to splatter. And if this gets places I don't want it to go, that's okay. I can clean that up like on my lamp. That happened once. And you're going to see it starting to dry as you go. Just up here, it got on there too a little bit. All right, we'll tuck that aside. And I need to clean this off. So to clean this off, I can do a couple things. I can use my chamois rather. I can run it under water, and it'll just come clean and be nice. So it's mostly dry, coming along. So in the meantime, let's put the other pieces together, and I'll show you what else I've chosen to put with this. Once I get these 2 layers together, I'm going to wrap some ribbon around it. Ooh, I feel a little bit of wet there. Let's just take our paper and fold it in half. There we go. Get onto a dry side. Okay, let's see. And you'll see it's left a really interesting design. Some of these are much thinner dots than others, more liquidy. All right, so take my side that got some ink, some wet on it, and I'm just going to put this over top. Got my trusty liquid glue. And add that to the front. Oh, I was going to put ribbon around, wasn't I? That's okay, I'm going to put ribbon around just the blotched one. That's fine. When you make that goof up, that's totally fine. I'll take this, I'm going to wrap my ribbon around and do a bow. I got enough here to do a bow. How much? I don't even know how much I cut, but to give you an idea. So 6, 12, 18 inches of ribbon will nicely do a bow. I did like 3 times round and a little bit more when I was prepping it. There we go. There's pretty bow. It really ties very nicely. And if it's too big a bow, just pull the ends, tighten it up, pull and tighten, and it'll go into place. If it bothers you that the bow is loose here, just stick a glue dot behind it. And now I'm just going to measure out my greeting to see that it's going to fit nicely. I might have to just wiggle the bow over to the side a bit, grab some dimensionals, pop them on. Let me know if you give this a try. I'm really enjoying doing different techniques and bringing back some I haven't used or done in a long, long time. Add some dimensionals on the back of this. Another thing you can use is a regular paintbrush, dipped if you like. I just have the water painters, and I loved using them for different things, so they were just good and handy to me. So use what you have. Get yourself some of these nice new in colors. They're just beautiful. And then to top it off, as I don't have a lot of the new in color jewels as well, but I have the opal rounds, which are in the annual catalog that launched today. It's also, they came out in the January to June catalog, so they're carrying over. Beautiful. Actually, I'll put a 4th one down in the center of this flower too. There we go. And that is our card with the collage technique, which I do a lot, of just adding your flowers or your images together, and then splotching the splatter technique. So let me know if you've tried it, and I look forward to reading about your post. Have a great day.